Boys, do you know the story of the prodigal son?
No, sir.
Would you like me to tell you that story?
Yes, sir.
Let's read the story of the prodigal son. One day the Pharisees criticized Jesus, saying, "This man welcomes sinners and tax collectors, and even eats with them." So Jesus told them this parable. Now, who is this person?
Jesus.
This is Jesus. What is Jesus doing here?
Telling all peoples.
Yes, he's telling all people a certain story. A parable is a story. Okay? And there were some people there among this crowd. They were called Pharisees, and they criticized Jesus. What is the meaning of the word criticize?
Any problem, sir?
To criticize means to find fault. Fault. They were finding fault with Jesus. They said that this man welcomes sinners and tax collectors and even eats with them. Daniel, are you paying attention? This is Jesus, okay? And these are the people who are listening to him. And some of these people are Pharisees, okay? And they are finding fault with Jesus for welcoming sinners and tax collectors and even eating with them. In those days, tax collectors were not considered good people. Okay? So now Jesus tells them a story. There was a man with 2 sons. One day the younger one said, "Father, give me my share of your property." So the father decided to divide what he owned between the 2 sons. Mohi, you have a brother.
Yes,
Okay?
sir.
His name is Rashid.
Yes, sir.
This story has 2 brothers in it.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
There's an older brother and then there is a younger brother.
Yes.
Okay? And the younger brother, who is like you,
Yes.
he went to his father and said, "Father, give me my share of your property."
Yes, sir.
So the father decided to divide what he owned between the 2 sons. Not long after, the younger son got all his money together and set off for another country far away.
Yeah.
So he took his money and left. Okay, now this person that you see here
Yes, sir.
is
The
the
son.
younger son. Look at him. What's he doing here?
Just drinking.
Drinking and enjoying his life. Drinking and enjoying his life.
Yes. Wasted money.
Now, there he wasted all his money in wild living. All his money was gone.
Gone.
Look at the dancing that is going on here.
Yes.
The music, the food, the wine.
This one more.
So what happens? After you waste money, what will happen?
Over this.
The money will be over.
Yes.
Then a famine came upon that land. The younger son was in need, so he took a job feeding pigs.
Yeah.
Famine. Do you know what a famine is? A famine is a time of dryness. The weather was dry, all the crops had died. There was nothing to eat. This man had no money and he had to feed pigs. Okay? He had a job of feeding pigs. He was so hungry that he wished he could even eat the food the pigs fed on. He was so hungry, he didn't have any food to eat. So he wished he could eat the food that the pigs were eating. Look at this man. This man has no money right now and he has to take care of pigs. And he wished that he could eat the food of the pigs. Who is this person? The younger son.
Yes.
The younger son who wanted his share of the money and he left.
One more brother, sir.
Then he came to his senses. He came to his senses means
Father.
he understood his mistake.
Yes, sir.
He thought, even my father's workers have food. I'll go back and admit I've done wrong. Maybe my father will let me be like one of his workers. So this is what he said. I know I have made a mistake. I want to go back to my father. I think he will take me back. Maybe he will accept me as his servant. If he accepts me as his servant, I'll have some food to eat. So he thought his father was angry with him, and if he did accept him, he would probably accept him as a servant. That's what he thought. So he went home. His father saw him from a distance and was filled with pity for his son. Now look at this scene. He ran to him and threw his arms around him and kissed him.
Yes.
Then the son said, "Father, I have sinned against God and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." So this boy, he thought that his father would be angry with him. But instead of being angry, the father was... What was he? He was happy.
Happy.
He was extremely happy to see his son. He ran to his son. He threw his arms around him and kissed him. Just imagine that. The boy thought that his father would be angry, but the father was excited. The father was happy. He was elated to see his son back again. Now, this is the younger son. This is probably the older son. Okay, there are two sons. But the father said to the servants, "Hurry, bring the best robe and ring and sandals for my son, and make a feast. My son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." So his father is very happy. He says, "Go, rush, bring the best robe and ring and sandals, the best clothes, okay?
Yes, sir.
The ring, golden ring
Ring.
and sandals for my son. Footwear, okay? And
Yes,
make
sir.
a feast.
Yes.
My son was dead and
And
is
he
now
was alive.
and is alive again. He was lost and is found."
Found.
By dead, what does he mean? What is the meaning of dead here?
मर गए.
You know what dead means,
Yes,
okay?
yes, sir.
Dead and alive means?
People die.
Yes.
You know that,
And
don't
alive
you?
means bad.
Yeah, but here it means something else. Dead means his mind was dead.
Mind.
His spirit was dead. Now his spirit is alive again. And he has come back to me. He was lost and is found. Now the older son was in the fields at this time. The older son. When he heard all the music and dancing, he asked what had happened. When they told him, he was angry
Yes, sir.
and would not go in. This is the older son, okay?
Yes.
Now he sees a lot of this thing happening.
Yes.
What is this? A lot of
Home.
merriment. There is a lot of merriment taking place.
Yes.
People are having a feast because of the younger son. So he asks his man, "What's going on?" And they told him that his younger brother had arrived, and his father had organized a party for this boy. So he was angry and would not go in. The father came out and pleaded with him, but the older son said, "Look, I have worked all these years for you and never disobeyed you, but you never gave me a party." So he says to his father, "All these years I was with you, all these years I worked for you, but you never gave me a party. But this younger son of yours, he went out, he lost all the money, okay? He disgraced you, and now he's returned and you are throwing a party for him? This is not fair," he said. "But my brother has come home after wasting your money, and you've killed the best calf, and you're holding a great celebration for him?" This is what the older son says to his father. The father said, "My son, you are always here and can have anything you want. But your brother was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. It is fitting that we celebrate." So the father says very simply, "My son, you're always here and you can have anything you want. Everything is yours. But your brother was dead and is alive again. He's come back. He was spiritually dead. His mind was dead. Now he's alive again. He was lost and is found. It is fitting that we celebrate." Fitting means it is right that we celebrate. Mohi, you have an older brother.
Yes, sir.
And he's the one who's taking this video right now,
Yes,
Rashid. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, you've got problems with your brothers sometimes,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Now, we just read about two brothers. The younger brother decided to leave his home, taking his share of the property.
Yes, sir.
But he did not use the money properly. He wasted his money
Yes, sir.
on pleasures, lost all his money, then became a beggar, almost a beggar, very poor person. He had to work as someone who takes care of the pigs, okay? And then he thought about his father, realized his mistake, went back to his father. He thought his father would not accept him. He
Yes.
thought his father may be angry with him, but his father accepted him. His father was waiting for him. He rushed
Yes.
and embraced his son. What does that show? What does that show to you?
Yes, this do any problem, any brother, like not give share.
What does this tell? It tells you that your dad is a loving person.
Yes,
Your
sir.
father is a loving person.
Yes.
He always loves you. No matter how many mistakes you make, your father loves you.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And when you go back to your father after you make a mistake, you say to your father, I am very sorry,
Sorry.
Dad, for the
Yes.
mistake I have made. And the father will say to you, don't worry, son, your mistake is forgiven. Okay? That is what that father did. So my advice to you today is if you have any problems with your brother or with your father, be very mild, okay? Take it to God first. Pray to God. Ask God to give you guidance.
Yes.
Now the father you see in this story is really God, you see?
Yes, sir.
This father, Jesus told the story about this father
Yes.
because he wanted this father, to be portrayed like God. You see? God and this father are very similar. Okay? And the prodigal son, the younger son, is very much like us. We make mistakes very often in our lives. But we can always go back to God and say to Him, Father, we have sinned against you. Please forgive us. And God will forgive you just like this father. Did you understand this story?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is a story that Jesus told to all the people who came to listen to Him. And I'm glad I could share the story with you today. God bless you all.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.